Well, hello, everybody. I hope that you have all had an amazing day. And I'm popping out here intentionally tonight because I said I would put a little announcement out there because my boss said, okay, you got to go for a round two out there. Too much talk you got to fix up out there. So that's what I'm here to do. I hope you guys all had a super blessed day. I hope you guys were able to set that high vibe this morning and maintain it all day, no matter what was coming your way. I hope that you were flowing like water over rocks, finding your way. Now, what am I going to talk about quickly tonight? I'm not out here to stay long, but I'm out here to be effective. So I'm going to go quickly, but I'm going to clear some things up out here. Okay, now look, I've had a lot of questions since this morning talking about life contracts, soul contracts, and divine counterparts and divine unions and things like this. Now, I want you guys to, if you don't know what that word divine means, I would like you to all look it up for yourself. What does that really mean? To be divine? Well, to be divine is to be in your purest essence of your being, to be godlike and flowing from the power of it. So that's what being divine is. So if you are not in your divine energy and in your rightful role, well, then you do not acquire a divine union and a divine counterpart. They end up to be karmic lessons for you to learn. And there's a lot of things that people don't understand about the repetitiveness, about ending up in the same type of relationships over and over again, and the correlation to the inner child wound. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that too tonight. Just a couple of things, because the questions coming at me, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. That means that I've triggered something inside of you that you want to look at, and I will explain it until the cows come home. Trust that, because knowledge is power. And I want you guys to all have the knowledge so you guys can all have the power. But it's up to you if you want it. You see that saying about you can bring a horse to the water, but you can't make him drink? No, you can't, but you can attempt to make him thirsty, and that's what I've done. And if the questions are coming in, that means that you're thirsty for knowledge, and I'm here to give it to you all. And I love it. And I love you all for bringing the questions so quickly after today's episode. Yeah, I like to go deep into those 2-hour episodes because that's when it can really be effective. Everybody says, shorten the videos, 30 minutes, da-da-da. No, you're leaving people hanging. You got to give people a complete explanation, make them thirst for more. Okay? So let's talk about it. I mentioned we were going to talk about life contracts, soul contracts, and divine counterparts. So, life contracts. Look, we're in a very highly calculated, systematic way of living. The creation of things and the way nature thrives is very calculated. Very calculated. So, your existence and your life experience is also calculated down to how many times your heart will beat and how many times you will breathe. Literally. And you must be willing and accepting of your life contract in order to take on your life experience, or you are not granted it. You are contracted to it. Now, there is an opportunity for you to get out of your life contract. Yes, there is. And that was another question. Tobi, are we mandatorily locked into our life contracts? Well, no, not necessarily, because there's a lot of souls that decide not to come through, but it's a part of their journey. It's a part of their contract. They're contracted already not to come through. They're contracted only to just dabble, to just get a taste of the water. So what is a taste of the water? Well, they end up being, their life terminates in the womb, or just as it comes out, or terminates shortly after, or the soul will decide, this is too much and check the fuck out, which is very possible too. It's the soul's decision. So if the soul is taking on the experience and realizes that the feeling of all of it is just way too dense and just has no interest to do it, it will leave. upon its own choice. But once that time frame period of the allowance of whether or not you're going to live it out or not is passed, you must live it out. So, what happens if you don't live it out? Well, you have to come back to redo it because it's a part of the cards. You agreed to do certain things. So, it's like you go and you take on a job. Well, you've taken on that job according to the work description. And what skills you have to acquire for the training and what you need to be of whatever to hold that position, right? And it's contracted to you to do that. Well, this is your life experience is the same way. Literally. Because this is the densest planet to live on. This is the hardest planet to live on. There is not another planet in this universe that is harder to live on than what we are living on right now. Why? Because this is the darkest density. And why? Well, because it had to be pushed into darkness because those were not using the power right. Go greedy. Just like the construct of what's governing us right now. And it's funny that it's governing crown because, hey, what correlation to the crown can you guys not be seeing? Doesn't that spark any type of interest in you guys about what's going on right now? About the governance of our beings by the crown? Well, we should be governing our beings by our crown. Totally giving that to another person to govern. So that's, anyway. But some like myself are soul contracted and life contracted to come in here and make a change. And once they get realigned with their life contract and understand it fully and take it on and own what they need to complete, they do it successfully, like I have. Simple. And what does successful life contract look like? Well, when you can own up to your purpose, what you agreed to live. And I owned up to it all. And I even corrected it. Corrected lineage karma, ancestral stuff. I had to feel every pain, every trauma, every shame, blame, guilt, denial, everything, the judgment, the non-validation, the silencing, the suffering, all of it, in order to heal it all, in order to heal everybody that came before me. But I did it. So that's what cleaning up your life contract is when you successfully accomplish the things that you need to do during your lifespan. And no matter what you live in your experiences and the choices that you make, you still have your life contract. And that's why when people talk about destiny, well, you know, it doesn't matter what route you get there, you already know how you're leaving. Just like you chose who your parents were going to be, you chose the conditions of your life, you chose the life lessons that you agreed to live, you chose everything that you were going to bear, live, learn, and everything. That's why your life contract is uniquely yours, nobody else's. And it is unique to your soul for its unique learning. And it depends whether you are a beginner soul or whether you are an advanced soul or what level of soul you are at, whether you have been recycled a little bit, whether a little bit of new has been merged to your soul, whether you're carrying an extra soul on your back, whether you have split souls so that you're searching for your soulmate. It all depends what your life contract is. And no two are the same, except for if you have a divine counterpart that you both have uniquely the same soul mission, and that is to come together in the middle of your lives. And yeah, so we'll get into that. But life contracts, yes. You're contracted your life experience. You agree to everything in your life that you lived. Everything. When I realized that, I was like, really? Oh, wow. Shit. Aren't I the trooper warrior soul that decided to say, yeah, I'll do it. Fuck yeah, I'll do it. Throw me in there. I got this. I didn't know that up until my spiritual awakening, until I was literally told that I was a light worker and that my biggest part of my life contract is to be an empowered empath, light worker, way shower, spiritual teacher. I had no idea. None. And that everything that I've lived was all for training to do exactly what I'm doing. And I wasn't even out speaking about it then. Not at all. So everything that we've already lived is to prepare us for what's to come according to our life contract. So when you really understand the depths of that, it's very easy to rid yourself of your past, because you don't hang on to the trauma so much readily, because you understand that it was meant to happen for a bigger purpose. Whether you like it or not, you agreed to live it. And it sounds a little bit out of this world because these contracts are made while you're still out of this world. Soulfully. Come on, you think that it's all in such a calculated, highly calculated place. And that's why humans have become the cancer here on the earth. And that's why there has never been so many enlightened and awakened beings ever in the whole history of this planet right now as there is right now. Yeah. So there's a lot of people like me that are spiritually awakened, that are empowered or becoming empowered, and who are stepping into their power. And who these individuals, yes, they have a merging divine counterpart, but not everybody does. People have soulmates and they have soul contracts, and they even have karmic contracts. So I'll tell you a little bit of what that's all about. So you could have soul contracts, like your children, your family. Those are all soul contracted to your experience before you even take it on. Like it was all decided before even your parents were born. It all works out and it correlates and it plays out. And yeah, that's just the way it is. You didn't just all of a sudden, your dad got off and you became whatever. No, it's all in the big plan of things. And there are so many people that have to lose their experience for so many people to come in. So many souls to come in, because we're not people, we're souls having this experience of the game. And the souls jump in and they jump out, and they jump in and they jump out. And depending on whether you get stuck in the cycle of learning, because patterns will repeat themselves until corrected. So what happens is your first run through it sets the pattern. So if you didn't learn and you had to suffer to learn, and if you don't, there's ways of going about it. You can either make it harder on yourself or you could make it easier on yourself by your choice alone. You see, there's only a couple of things to the game that there's rules to the game. And those are the 12 universal laws that are always working and always corresponding with each other all the time. And you're really your own tree of life within this game. And it's totally dependent on your choices of whether you can be authentically true to your soul and its way here within the game or not, which really decides whether you sail through it smoothly or whether you just get caught in a fucking karmic loop of learning. And that's all on you too, by choice, because you have the choice to be open and seek the learning, because that's what the experience is all about. When we are born into our purest natural state, well, all we want to do is discover, learn, and explore. That's it. And take in as much and be thrilled and be joyous and be blissful. Because really, what's the only emotional reaction in that state? A crying effect. And there are different cries for different things that it needs. So Hunger will produce a different cry. Fear will produce a different cry. Just needing to be cuddled will produce a different cry. We all have basic needs as a human being. But before we can think about it, and before we have a self-identity, and before we believe we're actually separate from our mothers, we're in our highest potential of our being. And our soul knows what it has to do. Like when a child falls and scrapes its knee, and it's a toddler, 2 years old, let's say. Okay, it gets up. It only reacts because you've reacted. It may cry 2 teardrops because of the shock of what happened if they have to see blood or whatever. But if you don't react to that child's going to forget about it because it's not thinking about it. It's not conditioned to think about it. And it's not going to wake up the next day complaining about it and going to bed thinking, oh, well, tomorrow I can't do this or I can't do that because I bumped my knee, and using the fucking excuse of the knee for the next fucking week because they're living in their purest potential. It's get up and go. Your body knows what it needs to do. It's still not distorted. It is actually the parenting that distorts the children from their highest potential. And it's been going on for thousands of years. Conditioning the child to be following everything that was led. No, fuck that. It's time to disrupt the pattern, create new ones, better ones, healthier ones, because we know better now. We know that medicine is, anyway, Toby, yes, okay, I get it. I was quickly told to stay on topic, which I will. Life contracts are serious. You will not be given your life and your life experience and even have woken up today without a life contract. And if you're still breathing, you still have more to attain or more to learn within your life contract, because the contract is all basis of learning. Every experience here is for learning, nothing but. And our data processing and our senses, it enhances the learning. And this is the only planet that you can actually feel what the central nervous system provides, because this is the only planet that we're in this meat suit. Simple. And this is actually the only planet with sexual organs. Yeah. It's a part of our creative powers. And it's a part of our basic needs as a human being. Yeah. That's how, co-creation and partnership, and, there are some animals on the planet that mate once, and stay with that partner for life. Well, a divine partnership, that's what happens. But I'll get into that later on. Okay. So I'm talking about life contracts, but yes, they are real. And this is why you have to get in touch with who you are. And you can't figure that shit out in a library. And you can't figure that shit out from somebody who's telling you to follow their way of doing things. No. You have to look within. You have to face yourself. You have to face everything that everybody's constructed you to be in order to figure yourself out. So you really, literally, it's like going to a storage room and opening up the storage and saying, okay, I got to rid myself of this. Because literally you're hoarding. If you're hanging on to anything from your past, it's the concept of hoarding, because it's no longer relevant to you today, and it also governs your whole life. And some people will say, well, if you have stuff in storage, it doesn't govern your life. Yes, it does. Because in the back of your mind, that storage is always there, whether you're unaware of it or not. And every decision that you make will be made already knowing that there is storage there. So it's the same concept for your brain. Well, the only storage that you're supposed to have in your being is your soul operation and heart-led ways. Your soul knows the way. It knows what it has to do. It knows why it took on the experience. How could it not? Your soul is the one that came to take it on. Your avatar is just making it available to do so. Making it accessible to do so. Yeah, okay. Thank you for that. Okay. So your body is allowing your soul to access your life experience. That's how you get life contracted to it. But yes, you have a certain amount of breaths and you have a certain amount of heartbeats and you have a certain amount of time in your contract. And yes, it is very difficult to tell people that when they've had somebody in their family traumatically murdered, or they've had somebody traumatically taken out of their life in ways that they don't understand and they don't agree with, and it's very hard to deal with. Yes, you have to be compassionate to that. But these are the ones that really need to seek spiritual guidance, because death doesn't exist. Okay. This is the game of life. It is a mere experience. Energy never dies. We are life contracted and soul contracted to certain things. So no matter how the experience ends for that person, the game over, it's already contracted that way. They already know that's how they're going to leave. They don't know that in their experience, their human experience of it, but in their soul, they already know. And this is what I love to say. Life contracts are real. And if you don't own up to your life contract, yes, you will get caught on repeat, or would have up until now, depending on what level of your soul is. You could be a brand new soul. You could be a soul that has been recycled. So what does that mean? You've already left your experience to come back with a little bit of added energy to you because you depleted your soul the first time around. So it's like powering up on a video game. You know, the Most High's got to add a little juice to your mix to give you back your life to figure it out. And that's what usually happens, is that when we leave this experience and we have our life review, we know and we feel without our meat suit effect. So nothing that comes with the physical. Exactly how we made everybody feel within our experience. So it doesn't matter what you've done. And on the planet, because when you exit this experience, you still have to account for the experience. Meaning, you don't get away with anything. And you are actually, it's like debriefing. And you get briefed on what you did in this experience, because everything is taken note of in your life contract. Everything. Everything you've ever thought, everything you've ever said, everything you've ever done, everything you've ever inflicted on another person, any bad that you ever thought about somebody, any good you've ever, it's not just the bad, it's all of it. And trust me when I tell you, you all think that this bullshit system of governance here has control over you, and you're all scared of the courts here? Huh. You have yet to meet the maker and account for your actions here on earth. I'm going to tell you, you're going to want to do the exact same thing that I did and say, hold on here, give me 10 years and I will fix this shit. Literally. Yeah, I didn't want to have to come back and do it again. And this is why I am who I am, but I've had to do a lot of learning in between. But your life contracts are real. Yeah. And that is why, you know, if you guys need extra validation, I'll give you a little bit more extra validation. Look, when things got rough for me before I ended up, well, just put it this way. My soulful friend had gone to jail. So I lost my buddy. He went to jail for a good minute. I ended up with the narcissist because literally I was lonely. Had I not, I know that's what it was. And I also had inner child wounds about my father still lurking, because that's why I accepted it to begin with, is that this is the same kind of patterns that I was born into. and that my mother was living with my father. Exactly. All the women, the cheating, the lies, the abuse, the everything. Everything. And it carried on until my parents got divorced. So the real underlying cause of why I even accepted and tolerated that for myself was because I already knew it. Okay? No. Was it right? Was it wrong? No, it was neither, because it was learning, and it was an opportunity for me to take a look at myself and say, why would I even accept this for me? And it was very clear when I looked at that. And I said, he's like my father. My father just died and I just replaced him. And that's exactly what I did. So you got to look within and really take a look at what's wounding you and that you're hanging on to, that's governing your whole life. Because when you realize that you have soul contracts and you have life contracts, and it's all a part of this big game of life for experience, and you're actually here just to process data for the big collective mind, this huge conscious mind. I like to talk about it like, I refer to it as an octopus head. And we are just all of it's not, that doesn't have 8 legs. It's got every connection to everything. There is a tie and an attachment. Nothing's ever disconnected. We're all a part of it. Whatever people may think is good and whatever people may think is bad, we're all connected to it, and all loved equally the same, and all have a specific reason to be here. No one is more greater than the other. We all matter equally. What we do with it makes us worth more than another in the big plan of things. Because if you come in here on a mission and you have to acquire and do certain things, well, how good are you in the video game if you keep getting stuck on level 1? Simple. How good are you to the big plan or to the big scheme of things if you are not going according to the plan? You're not. How good are you to the plan? Well, everybody knows that show about the weakest link. It's as simple as that. And when I talk about this, I talk about it within your own being. Are you your own ally or are you your own adversary? What are you to your own being? Are you living honestly and openly to your life contract? You wouldn't know until you faced your life contract. Well, you're not going to face your contract of life until you've embodied your soul 100% on a soulful level and allow it to govern you instead of your mind that is not really your mind. That has a job to do. It's a physical thing that has a job to do, which governs every other thing in your body on a matter basis, because underneath all of that has the underlying energetic. Okay, all the chakra points, all the energy flowing through you governs all of your organs and anything and everything anyway. So I've talked about life contracts. Soul contracts are a part of your life contract. So what does that mean? Your soul contracted to certain people, experiences, outcomes, all a part of your learning. Yeah. So anybody you've ever laid down with or anybody that's in your family, you were soul contracted to that. Any experience, like, let's say, you think all of these bad relationships or bad interactions or whatever, they were all meant to happen. Nothing happens by fluke and everything is highly calculated. Simple. All of it is highly calculated. Why? Because everything in the universe and existence is highly calculated. So why the fuck would it let you disrupt everything in existence? We all matter the same. But there are a couple of things that it will support you in your choices. It'll support you in your choices not to learn and be stuck in repetitive motions. It will support you to whatever depth it takes you to acquire the learning. And this is why people have to get into pushed into painful situations for them to pause. It shouldn't take pain for you to pause. And the majority of the time, that's what it takes. And the pains in your body is direct correlation to the things that you're doing to yourself and others on an emotional level. Because we're all energy first. So all of everything, any illness starts from a frequency first. Because we flow in a frequency first no matter what. So, yes, soul contracts are real. Soulmates are, yes, they are real, but they are different than a divine counterpart. Very much so. So I don't really want to be out here too long. I've been out here a half an hour. It was just a little, but look. Put it this way. Divine means to be godlike. So that means to be in an unconditionally loving state and in a creative, unconditionally loving state. Thriving, motivating others to do so. Like nature doesn't say, oh, look at how pretty I am. It gets admired naturally. It's godlike. Okay. It doesn't need to be excess or cry for attention or put on a mask or hide what it is. That's godlike. So if you want divine connections and unions in your life, you must become divine. You cannot acquire these things in your life if you do not hold the frequency of it. So I've spoken to 5 different women today who have said to me, reiterated to me, because they had never heard it before I was speaking about it, about this divine counterpart that people are supposed to merge with once you are activated and aligned. But a divine counterpart is when there are 2 very evolved souls that have lived out their life contracts and are ready for each other, who come together, who have already been contracted soulfully to each other and are ready for each other. And it is normally, what I'm told anyway, is that it is the male divine counterpart who becomes aware of it very quickly and steadfast goes and gets his divine counterpart. But it is an anointed connection. So you have to be an evolved. There's a lot of stipulations that come into that divine counterpart. A lot. And it is soul contracted and nothing can change it. It is destined to be. So it is not something that people take a chance at or attempt to think whether it's a soulmate or a twin flame or whatever. Okay, it actually is a divine counterpart is when 2 evolved souls come together of the same frequency, soul contracted to each other. It is different than soulmates. Why? Because when a divine counterpart merges together, their life lessons have been accomplished. And the only thing that they have left to do in their lifetime, in this lifetime experience, is to romantically love each other because they've done everything else. And it is a godlike union. Nothing can break it. It is soulfully destined. And it is not something that just happens. No, it's not. And it's far from somebody merging with their soulmate because there is a divine reason for it. So, yes, I've heard a lot of people talking to me. I've had 5 different conversations about people reiterating to me about they want a divine counterpart. Yes, but I'm here to tell you all you cannot acquire a divine union because you will not get a divine counterpart unless you're an evolved soul as I am. And I would not be teaching you if you were as evolved as I am. So therefore, you need to be an evolved soul to even be granted the completion of your life cycles and your learning to graduate Earth School. So that's what it basically is. It is 2 very evolved souls who have pretty much embodied the universal love and the divinity within them, which is the godlike nature, which is the truest essence of our being from the Creator, and has flooded that through them intentionally, who has sealed their vessel. They are a whole healed energetic biofield. They do not come together to learn lessons off of each other. They come together as blessings to each other. That is very different. And they are anointed soul contracted together by the Most High, and nothing can stop it. So no, not everybody has a divine counterpart. Because not everybody can step into their fucking divinity. Many are called, but the chosen are few. That's what's happened. So the evolved souls that are here for ascension, yes, you have a divine counterpart. But in order to acquire your divine counterpart, you must embody the divinity and the divine within you, or it will never happen. People want to talk about divine and they don't even know that word. They don't even understand that that word is to be like God. Well, what is to be like God? Clarity, consciousness, creative power, force to be reckoned with, sees and knows all, clarity, a governing force. Come on, you any of that? Well, then how can you partner with something like that? You can't. Simple. Everybody wants that divine union, but can't be divine. Far from it when you're sitting there shaming, blaming, guilting yourself. So I needed to clear that up. Because if you're living in shame, blame, guilt, denial, resentment, judgment of any kind, and you're not loving yourself heartfully, well, then you are the last thing besides divine. Because to be divine, you are divinely loving yourself to the same magnitude as the Creator loving you. That's where you can be on the same level of another divine individual to have that kind of union to begin with. Because I'll tell you, when you acquire this level of learning, you want to lay down with another divine, not another dirtbag. Okay? And yeah, why do I call that dirtbag? Why? Because energy is dirty. It gets stagnant. You got to cleanse your energy. Every connection that you talk to, that's still connection. And unless you tie that, cut it. Okay? Cut it. Call them, pull them energy cords back and cut. Unless you intentionally do that shit, everybody can feed off you no matter what. Anyway. But everybody wants these divine connections, but they're the farthest thing from divine. They're walking around like dirt. When I say dirt, it's not to put anybody down, but their energy is like stagnant ponds instead of flowing rivers. And that's the truth of it. So, I really appreciate all the talk and all of the questions that came at me and all of the everything. But I've had 5 conversations with different women today that have been talking about this divine counterpart only because they've heard me talking about it, but they haven't done the research. And this is what I mean. You know, you really, anything that I talk about that you're unsure of, go do the research before you start talking about it. Because you're talking about things that you have no idea about. I don't talk about things that I don't know. I do the research. And what answers I can't find for myself, I ask my boss, he'll fill me in. Okay, you've seen that I've done the work here. I'm missing some pieces, give them to me. Literally. But your energy, look, we all have masculine and feminine energy in us. But are you familiar with your own being? Where is your focus? Do you have an outward focus on the world, or do you have an inward focus on how you're feeling? Or is everything outside of you governing the way you feel? Or is it by choice you're governing the way you feel? All right, well, if you're not mastered in your own being and you can't handle your emotions and you can't have any clarity and you need to constantly be running everywhere because you can't sit still with your own being, you need to be constantly running for the need to make money because you need to be spending to have some sense of worth in your own life. You are the farthest thing from divine. If you're sitting there believing what everybody else made you to believe, and if you are sitting there holding on to everybody else's dirt in your energy, well, then you are the farthest thing from divine. Simple. So if you are not divine, which is to be godlike, what is that? Well, that is a state that you embody in everything that you think, say, and do. So if you are not divine, well, how the fuck you gonna be in a divine union? You can't be. And if you try to be, those energies will quickly repel each other. You won't even have a chance of merging. So everybody wants to talk about, the partnerships outside, the relationships, and everybody wants a great relationship. Yeah, everybody expects their partners to be great partners, but don't become great partners first. Simple. And that's the big problem. The problem is that people are expecting everybody else to fulfill their needs, and that's why they believe they need a partner to begin with, when you should be fulfilling your own needs first. And this is the biggest difference with the divine unions and the karmic ones. Yeah, the divine unions and the divine hookups that are meant for ascension, they've done the work. They're not sitting in denial. They've already see the good in everything. There's no work left to be done. There's maybe one piece of the puzzle that they're missing, and that's fucking their divine union. They've done the work. The planet's been ascending. This is not new. I posted videos about them talking about this 30 years ago. So if you guys think this is news to you, that's because you've been avoiding it. You have been, by choice, unaware of it. Okay? Simple. But you cannot have a union, a divine union, if you do not have a divine union with yourself and your divine creative energy within yourself. There's quite a discrepancy there. Well, what does it look like to be in union with your own being on a divine level? You can sit with yourself in silence. You don't people please. You stand up for yourself. You love yourself unconditionally. You empower yourself. You consciously create your state on a daily basis. You understand that everything is learning. Well, I hope that cleared it all up for everybody. Because 5 different women have been talking to me about 5 different aspects of divine counterparts, and none of them understand what being divine even is, or embodying that for themselves. So I needed to make sure that you all understand that. And no, I've been out here a long time. Okay, I will. Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I'm going to throw it up here for you guys learning. We all have specific needs. Physiological, food, shelter, clothing, safeties, physical safety. So whether you feel safe in your own skin or not. Social, friendship, group memberships, social connections, because that's for love and acceptance. Now, self-esteem, so you need approval, recognition, self-confidence, and then your self-fulfillment at the top, your accomplishment, feeling accomplished, right? Well, guess what? If you're looking for anything from anybody else, let's pull up this one. I love this one. So food, shelter, breathing, homeostasis for your physiological needs. Homeostasis is a huge one. What does that mean? Balance within. That means flowing like a river, not a stagnant pond with all that dirty energy. And then security. Well, hey, look, do you feel okay in your skin? Do you have security in your life for your well-being? Do you feel secure in your daily life? Do you have, move it up, do you have family? Do you have friends? Do you feel connected to anything? And then if you go up a little higher to the orange, look. But you know something? Yeah, I want you guys to all notice all of these. Why? Because if you're not fulfilling these needs for yourself, you're going to be trying to look for them and look for others to be fulfilling these needs for you. Simple as that. And once you start giving that to yourself, because I highly doubt that you were born into a family that gave you all your basic needs. They were conditioned to not do that. They were operating from traumatized beings, silenced from abuse, neglected to the whole max because listen, my 100-year-old grandmother still can't show affection. It's still weird for her. I give her a hug and she tells me it's weird. It's weird. Nobody ever hugged her. Nobody ever showed her love as a kid. So she doesn't do it either. Well, the whole lineage gets affected by that. These are things that are very relevant that need to be healed. You know, these are things that you got to clear up and clear out and, you know, that are weighing you down. You got to figure these things out about yourself. You got to figure out what is stopping you from embodying the highest and purest potential of the love that's fueling you. And that's what really true divine and divinity comes from. You know, how could I not know these things if my soul is forever connected to it all? See, this is what you guys don't get. Oh, you know what I've been asked so many times, Tobi, are you a medium? Are you this? Are you that? No, I am a soul being having a human experience, which is connected to the all-knowing, like that big octopus head that I keep telling you guys about, like one consciousness. We're all connected to it. I don't know anything that you guys don't know. If you clear out those blockages, you'll know it too. And this is the change and the shift on the planet that's happening. Is bringing back love-based operations. You know, when you're loving somebody heartfully and you're loving yourself, you know that you can just look at them in their eyes and you can send messages back and forth. You don't need any speech. Come on, telepathy. Look at my friend that I always am posting, Kenneth Bartholomew. Come on. Yo, he's telekinesis. You can't tell me that shit's not real. And why the fuck aren't you guys in your power then? Because I know my power. You guys all think it's not real. You guys are all snoozing. Wake the fuck up. Because now it's time to ascend with the planet. And I'm telling y'all now, you don't get a divine counterpart or a divine union or any of that shit until you've learned your lessons, healed from your shit, and then you become divine first. What is being divine? Being in your purest energetic state. No matter what you're doing. Because when you're in your purest energetic state, you are not thinking about anything. Well, you have to be in your purest state, in your godlike state, to have a godlike union, which is the divine. That word means godlike. Okay, so divinity is to, with the divine flow, The messages come through divinity. We all have it in us. It is our own innate divinity. What is that? The messages of our soul. Guys, I hope and pray that you guys can all get with yourselves right to the point that you love yourself. No matter what. Because you show up as a state first. I tell everybody that all the time. It is what it is. Yes, you have a life contract. Yes, you have soul contracts within that life contract. Yes, you have karmic contracts that you must get over. And this is why we get caught in the same situation with a different face attached in a cyclical pattern until you break free. And half of these patterns started in your first 7 years of life. They were installed by other people. And this is why you're not even aware that they exist until you do the work. So I encourage you to do it, because all of this storage stuff is actually tainting your energy. It really is. It's like muddy, gloomy water. No joke. You need to clear out your energy, become like a fresh flowing river, make the magic happen, become divine-like. That doesn't mean be a perfect person. You know, you were given free will and choice for a fucking reason, eh? Okay? Literally. Do you think I'm blocked from my divinity because I swear? You think that I'm blocked from the power of my energy because I am who I am? Nah, I'm life contracted to be who I am. You see? Life contracted to be who I am. And I own that shit proudly. But I just know parts of my life contract now that are very evident, more so than ever. But me specifically, yes, I do have a divine counterpart that is waiting to happen. I don't know who it is, but he knows who he is. And this is the joy of having a divine counterpart, because they already know, they're already prepared, they see that you're prepared, and there's no hesitation. It is all speed ahead. And they will swoop in, literally. And it would be like a Bridgerton situation. It doesn't matter what I have. I don't have to have anything but me. All provisions are there. This is a man that leads. I have no worries. And I am being told that I specifically, yes, I have a divine counterpart, because I am an evolved soul. I've done this a lot of lifetimes. Yeah. Well, there's somebody who's just as much of an advanced soul as I am, and we're like butter. So I'm curious to see who it is, because apparently I won't know until I know. So I'm curious. But I keep being told that that he's coming in. Just to be patient. Anyway, I lived a whole lifetime already, so pretty much. Anyway, yeah, so a divine counterpart is a divinely orchestrated pair that come together for a divinely orchestrated soul mission. And they become an example of what love looks like, unconditional love looks like, to lead as an example for everybody they're connected to, because they all need to see it. So this is the real soul mission of it. It is actually, it's not just for them, it is for everybody connected to them. So it amplifies and it helps everybody. So yes, everything divinely orchestrated is divinely orchestrated and anointed, and what is for you, you will know is for you, because it doesn't come with any conflict or chaos. If there's any kind of conflict or chaos, it is not your divine counterpart. If it's coming with any conflict or chaos, it is not for you. Anything that you use your discernment with, and you lead and you guide with your heart and your truest divinity, which is your divine power, then there is no conflict or chaos or argument or nothing. It's smooth sailing. There's a knowing. It is a, okay, finally. And you feel that for the both of you. It's a relief. It's like a breath of air. It's like giving each other oxygen when you come together. Yeah. So it's quite something, and I look forward to it. Yeah. So that's what it is. Okay. So I love you all. Have a great night. Peace. So one last thing before I shut that end stream. You want a divine union? Well, you better become divine, because every union that you're in and everyone that you lay down with right now, that's a huge transference of energy. So all them people you regret sleeping with after, it's too late. They're all up inside of your energy for years to come unless you do something about it. Farthest thing from divinity or divine counterpart. And that's why I will not lay down with another man until my divine counterpart arrives. I'll wait. Yeah. And that's what I'm being guided to do. So I love you all. Have a great night. Peace.